Hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you think it couldn't get worse, yeah, we got other religious organizations that are now incorporating being from other galaxies. And a guy says he's from another galaxy and he has the cure. And you see this article here, what the cure did to a woman. She dies after drinking the cure that basically ends up being Clorox bleach. Okay, let's get into this story here. So now I seen this a couple of weeks ago and I said, wait a minute, this can't be happening. You know, I've seen some crazy things, but it never ceased to amaze me. So this is out of Newser. It says a woman dies after drinking what is called a cure that basically is Clorox bleach. So it's promoted by a fringe church whose founder says he's from another galaxy. So this is by a Jen Gidman out of Newser staff. And so there's a video attached to it. It's Jim Humble speaks about the MMS cure. Okay, so let's read the article and then we'll go back up. Maybe the video will work. Hopefully, I hadn't clicked on it. So, an institution calling itself Genesis, the Second Church of Health and Healing, is anything but. According to a man who says he has this elixir promoted by the church as the miracle cure, and it is the same concoction that killed her, ABC News reports. So Doug Nash says that he and his wife, Sylvia Nash, Sylvia Fink, per a March Washington Post article, were on a sailing trip around the world in 2009 when they stopped in Vanuatu Island. So, correct me if I'm wrong, so it has a different type of sounding name. And those of you that are familiar with this island, maybe you know the correct pronunciation. But it was there that they ran into travelers hawking an anti-malaria concoction. And after purchasing a sample of the miracle mineral solution, the MMS, Sylvia tried it. Okay. So right away, things went wrong. She said, "Oh my God, that's awful." Doug says, recalling about 15 minutes after her negative taste test, Sylvia started complaining about not feeling very well. And by the evening, her symptoms turned into diarrhea, vomiting, nausea, and it had become so bad that Doug suspected she had been poisoned. So his 56-year-old wife had died before help could arrive, so it was too late. So the autopsy noted that she had ingested sodium chloride, MMS main ingredient. So, which it's basically industrial bleach. Federal prosecutors say. So that's basically what it is. So they might as well be selling Clorox bleach. The DOJ's Ben Miser tells ABC. So the healing medicine was traced back to a firm called Project Green Life. So anybody that's connected with that knows of that and thinks they're getting a cure, beware. If you're feeling sick, it didn't look like it took very long for this woman to die of this so-called cure. And in 2015, operator Louis Daniel Smith was convicted. So his name is Louis Daniel Smith. He was convicted and sentenced to 4+ years in prison for hawking the product as a cure for a variety of maladies. But the Genesis Church, founded by Jim Humble, an elderly man who says he came from another galaxy per the Post, has built up his following around MMS and claims thousands of success stories behind it. So making things harder for the feds, supplements like this aren't FDA regulated. So anybody thinking that this is a cure, beware. So meanwhile, its promoters keep pushing it, and if they do lock me up, I know how to do out of body travel, he says. So I can go anywhere, see anything I want. And one of the church's bishops told the Post this. So he's calling it an elixir of long life. Okay. So let's go up, and I believe Jim Humble speaks about this MMS cure. And so this is the video of this guy saying that he has the elixir. So I guess, yeah, I was sure that the video probably doesn't play anymore. They might have stripped the video because this guy was basically going around saying he had this miracle cure, an elixir to long life. And what ended up happening is it turned out to be a sodium chloride, which is Clorox bleach. And so people are, I guess he's pushing it in like an elixir or pill forms and what have you. So they say beware. And I seen the article not long ago. It was posted somewhere else. And I think law enforcement was warning people not to buy into this. But this group has already grown. It's a religious group. And this one guy who's pushing it says that he's from another galaxy. Believe it or not, I'm not kidding you. He says he's from another galaxy and he has the miracle cure. And if they lock him up, he can see everything and he can have an out of body experience and he won't be locked up. But I'm not lying. This is what this article is saying. And I've seen this in multiple articles that this church, this fringe church exists. And so let me see here. Because I was, I thought about it and I thought about all the other churches and all the other crazy stuff that goes on with some of these, groups that claim that they're religious and they claim that they're a part of these religious groups and what have you. And so I wasn't really that shocked. It just seems like it's far fetched. It's like you're wondering, okay, how far will people take things? But anyway, with that being said, what do you think about this? I mean, would you be eager to take some miracle cure if you really weren't that sure? A lot of people um, don't really know if this has been tested or it's been proven that these things work and what the real ingredients are. And so this man says he's from another galaxy, but he's got a following. Do you think that these people are taking this? He claims he has success stories. Now, I know people are going to say, well, I don't know. But there are other people that are out there that are saying that they have different cures for different things. And it may not be regulated by the Federal Drug Administration, but some people say that you have to reduce certain things in your diet. You can hear them saying that, or make certain juices, or they'll say, oh, you can eat a certain way. But this guy, he's claiming that he has this in elixir. And so he's been hawking it. He's been pretty much promoting it. I would believe he's probably got a website and he's making money off of this. Okay, so this was one of the articles. Okay, so man who claims he's from the future passes lie detector. Okay, so man who traveled through time says he has proof that he traveled through time. Trust me, NASA received SOS call from. This is crazy. There's some crazy stuff out there, but this guy, he says he's from another galaxy. And so I'm not surprised when you start looking at some of these crazy articles, what kind of stuff people are pushing out there. But since people are so into religion, you gotta be careful, folks. Like I was saying, you don't know you know, who's doing what. But anyway, let me go further. Okay, so this is basically where I was. Okay, so it's basically what I had, and I guess maybe people are trying to, I know I've seen where, yeah, this is basically the article. Not a loser. So yeah, so I was trying to find. I actually saw an article earlier on where they actually showed the actual man. He's an elderly guy, and he looked as though that he had white hair. He was wearing glasses, and he had it all white on. And what it reminded me of is that group um, from I guess maybe a decade ago, and I forget the name of the group, but it was Applewhite was the leader of a cult. um, and so he was the leader of a cult, and he also, had a following. Okay, yeah, his name was Marshall Applewhite, and he was known as Bo and Doe. Okay, so Marshall Herff Applewhite Jr., May 17, 1931, March 26, 1997, also known as Bo and Doe, among other names, and an American cult leader who founded what became known as the Heaven's Gate religious group and organized their mass suicide in 1997, claims he claiming the lives of 39 people. And so I think his face is pictured in, here. And what I thought was freakish about him is, like he hardly ever blinked. His eyes were always like wide and wild looking, such as like what you're seeing here. And that freaked me out right away just by itself. Anybody looking like that, I'm not gonna, believe any religion from someone like that. But anyway, I'm just telling you, I don't believe in any of this stuff because there's so many wackazoids out there and space whacks. I just don't want to be involved in none of it. But anyway, there are several other weird individuals that people follow, and they may not, you know, be deemed as a cult, but it's the same makings. Now has all the same makings of it. So yeah. Anyway, it says that he died in Rancho Santa Fe, California, USA. This was March 26, 1997, and the cause of death was suicide, of course, because he felt like they were going to go to this comet called Hale-Bopp. And I remember this as I was, younger. I was looking at all these people that basically they were getting all the body bags and taking all the bodies out of the house. And so these religions, man, they are really dangerous. I mean, and I know some may seem, real far fetched. This is probably on the far end. But then there's others that they don't seem harmless at all. They seem harmless, that they don't seem harmful, but they're still taking your money, or learn in your personal life and then they use it against you, or they make you feel bad because you don't have a lot of money and you don't make a lot of money. And there's different types of styles of preaching. People will preach prosperity, that you have to, in order for you to be blessed, you have to have all this money, and they want you to achieve goals that are impossible to achieve, because you're not in a place in your life, or you're not in a position where you can really achieve those goals. And your goals are just to have a happy family and a happy life and to be able to have a roof over your head, and those might be the most realistic goals. But they kind of push people into things that they can't afford and living beyond their means. And then a majority of their money goes to these churches and organizations, and the churches sometimes are not getting, you know, um, all this money. It's the pastor and their family that is getting all the money, and there's scandals, like the like there are scandals like the Jim Bakker and Tammy Faye Baker. Um, there's scandals where you have mega churches where they basically, if that rings a bell, if you recognize seeing this woman here, and her husband Jim Bakker, they had a huge following, and even till today, I don't know if they still operate. Some people may know they have a huge following. Um, Tammy Faye Mesner was an American Christian singer, evangelist, entrepreneur, author, talk show host, television personality. And so her death was colon and lung cancer. So it wasn't just her, but her spouses were Roe Mesner. That was 1993 and 2007. But then the last one, well known, was Jim Bakker. Basically, Jim Bakker is right here. So Jim Bakker is an American television evangelism guy. He was married to her, and okay, 500,000 net worth. All right. So they had this show, and I remember as a kid, it used to come on TV, and they made so much money off of people. They were buying jets. They had a mansion. They had all kind of jewelry, all kind of nice cars, and they were doing all this stuff for so many years, and then they got in trouble. I believe maybe with the IRS and with people finding out that their religion turned out to be a scandal. It was more like a prosperity thing for them, and about money. I feel like most of these churches are like that. If you ask me, I feel like most of them are about the money or about some kind of scam, and they're feeding you full of junk. And so I just feel like people are very gullible, and people are looking for leaders, they're looking for answers, and a lot of times the answers are right in front of you, common sense. Right from wrong. Basically, some people can decipher, if nothing else is wrong with you cognitively. But, come on. Do you really think the cure in an elixir is going to do it? Come on. Common sense. Let's use common sense, folks. You don't know where it came from. You don't know if it's been tested or regulated through the FDA. You don't know if it's safe to drink or eat. Don't do it. A lot of these places, these churches, these groups will lie to you, and they're not telling the truth, and they're feeding you a line of what. And so you got to be careful about all of these organizations because they're not honest. And a lot of times it turns out to be a scam, and they're out for your money. You know, they're not really out for your best interest. They're looking for a way to get in your pockets, is basically what they're looking for. And they're not really looking out for you. And they claim they are, and they claim they're trying to look out for the well being of your family, but it turns out to be a scandal, you know. And so I would think that people should be more careful about following these groups because they could very well be cults. They could be dangerous. You know, they could be groups where you could be getting in more than what you bargained for. You know, if it's a cult leader, your next Marshall Applewhite that you're following, or you know maybe the Baker family. You know, some look less menacing. Maybe they're not trying to kill you, but they're killing your pockets. You know, trust me, they're killing your pockets. You know, they're taking your money, um, and you know you're basically going to end up broke, and you're not going to have a dime to your name. And so, like it says here, the woman, she died after this miracle cure, so-called miracle cure. So I just, you know, like they say, buyer beware. It's the same thing. You know, have common sense about these religions and these groups, you know, because that's all they are is religions, and religions are man made. And it isn't really, I believe, people have just as well as they have the potential to be good, they can be bad. And I believe everything that we search for is already in some people, and some people possess more of that than others. You know, there are some people that probably can do more good in this world, and then there's others that they just don't seek to do good. They seek, you know, to just be more self-absorbent for the only it's only about themselves. And that's, you know, it's been proven over and over again. And so unfortunately you have people that end up, you know, being victimized because they're so easy to be persuaded by these individuals. And even though, you know, you think people, some of the people you think, oh, that's people who are ignorant and they don't read and they don't study. Some of these groups, these religious groups, will have some of the most educated people following. People who do stuff like this, saying that they have the cure. And believe it or not, they'll drink it because they really believe it's the cure. You know, and you scratch your head and you're thinking, wait a minute, I thought these people, they're supposed to be, you know, they got these degrees and they're supposed to have their head on tight. And I thought they were smarter than this. But, you know, people are looking for leaders. And, you know, if you're charismatic and you have the way of orating and leading a crowd of people, there's people that are like that. They're dangerous. And they can make people do things that you wouldn't believe. And so, I mean, look at, you know, they've got armies, and armies have leaders, they have generals, they have people that are out there doing crime, and they have a crime boss. You know, somebody's leading them, and they're willing to go down, take the heat. So just think of that, you know. So if people will go that route, what, you know, there's no route people won't go, you know, even if it's crazy, you know. Basically, here's somebody telling you, okay, the woman died of Clorox bleach. They've taken the video off, probably the religious group. They took the video off because now they know they've been found out. Guy says that he's from another galaxy. He's probably got a group of followers. He's probably got a following, like on the website. And he's probably racking in the dough for his elixir. Well, anyway, with that being said, what do you think about this? That's not too far out of the realm of what another guy did. He said for Easter, he was going to have his students show them what it was like that when Jesus suffered. So he told the students to spit on him and beat him and cut him. Oh yeah. So now we got this guy. He says he's from another galaxy. It never ceases to amaze me. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for listening.